Bismillahi walhamdulillahi assalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers. Today inshallah we will start our new surah, Surah Hijr, and we will try our best to cover from ayah number 1 until 44. Before we start, a brief introduction about this surah. So this surah was revealed in Makkah, and in total it has 99 ayahs. Al-Hijr, the word, it means, Hijr itself means rock. And in the way it came,
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Nuruddin, welcome back to the class. So the way this word has been mentioned is it came in ayah number 80, and in the Ashab al-Hijr, so the people of rock were mentioned, and most of the scholars believe that this is the nation of Thamud. So, and we will go through the details when we go through, inshallah, the surah. The context is, as I mentioned earlier, it is revealed in Makkah before the migration of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions to Medina, right before. So again, this is the same time as the previous surah, Surah Ibrahim, where the persecution and opposition of the enemies of Islam was at its peak, and they were really dialing it up. This surah comes as a comfort for the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and all his companions, while it has a lot of warnings for the disbelievers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will also has shared some stories of previous nations and how they were punished. And there is also the story of creation of Adam alayhi salam, and when angels and Iblis were also asked to prostrate before him, and we'll go through some details there, even in today's class. Plus, there are stories of angels coming to Ibrahim alayhi salam, story of Lut alayhi salam, and punishment that was given to his nation. So inshallah, we will go through all these topics. So, starting today's lesson, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alif Lam Ra. These are again the starting letters in many of the surahs where they come. The meaning of this is unknown, and it is only known to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. However, there are different explanations and logics that have been explained by some scholars, but the overall general opinion is that the meaning of these letters is unknown. Tilka ayatul kitabi wa Qur'anim mubin. These are the verses, these are the signs of the book, and Quran is clear, it's crystal clear. So if people really put their thought into it, they will find all the signs, they will find all the logic that they need to understand and why, and answer the big questions like, for example, why have we been created? What is the purpose of life? Who is our creator? And what's our overall objective? And how can we be successful in this life as well as hereafter? So this is a complete guidance, and it is a clear Quran that has been revealed for people who truly use their reason and intellect. Ayah number 2, Rubama yawaddu alladhina kafaru law kanu muslimin. Perhaps those people who disbelieve, the disbelievers, would wish that they had been Muslims. When will they wish that they had been Muslims? Obviously, when all of us are gathered on the day of judgment, and especially at the time of their death, when the truth is revealed, they will wish that they would have been like Muslims, meaning that they were not polytheists, they were not pagans, they were not Jews, Christians, whatever, that they were all Muslims, and they would have followed the guidance that was revealed to the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the form of Quran, as well as via his practice and his sayings in Hadith and Sunnah of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So those people who disbelieved, they would wish that they had been Muslims. Now, I just want to share an example and a scenario, and I would ask you guys to tell me, what do you think? So, right after you finish an exam, let's say you are going to schools and you have had, I'm sure all of you have witnessed multiple exams in your school or your high school or your college or universities, in whichever grade you are, you go through different exams. So, and you prep for the exam and then you go through it. And how many of you guys think that, you wish you could have done better? So after the exam is over, a lot of the thoughts start to come over, and the first thought that can come is that I wish I could have done better, and I wish I had a little more time, And sometimes you wish I had studied that chapter that I left maybe, or that topic that I did not cover that well, or I spent when I was doing the exam, maybe I got stuck into a question. I wish I would have just jumped off it and went to other parts, the second part that were perhaps easy that you found out later. So these are multiple thoughts that come after an exam. So have you guys witnessed it? Any of you? Have you gone through this experience that after giving the exam, these thoughts come to your mind that you could have done better? Does that happen to you? In any of the exam, in any of the paper, for any of the topics?
Yes.
It happens, right?
Yes.
And it happens. Do you know why it happens? Why do you get these thoughts? What is the reason? Anything that comes to your mind. Why do we get these thoughts? How do we feel about ourselves?
Because when you're preparing for the exam, what you're doing is going through everything that you have. But if you don't manage your time correctly, or you don't have the proper guidance, you don't know which part to spend the most time on. So when you go to the final exam, you regret not covering things or covering some things in a lot of details. That's why many people go to schools, and that's why they say to listen to the teacher, because they guide you through everything you have to do.
Thank you. Brilliant answer, Shayan. Jazakallahu khairan. Yes, Nuruddin, you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to say that Allah SWT has denied us to say the word if I had done that, or if I had done. So I think it's the devil making us regret and everything. Maybe that's.
Yes, so you're already answering what I was about to present, and you're already saying this. So this verse, the one that we just went through, ayah number 2 of the Surah Hijr, Allah SWT is saying that those people who had disbelieved, they would wish that they had been Muslims. So the same feeling of the exam that you get after the exam, I wish I could have done that, or I would have done that. Allah SWT is saying those people who disbelieve and don't believe in this guidance and don't change their lives and they don't act on their lives, they will get the same thought on the day of judgment. So imagine this life that we are going through as a test of life. It's like an exam. It's our exam. If once we have gotten the guidance, will we do the right thing or will we do the wrong thing? And this is the time we are right now solving the exam, and this is the test of life. So if you relate the same situations of what you guys feel a lot of the times during exams, during your schools, and you relate it with this ayah, you can feel that there will be disbelievers who on the day of judgment would have failed the test of life, and they would be now thinking, and this is exactly what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is highlighting, that the disbelievers would be wishing that they wish they would have been Muslims on the day of judgment, which is like the results day, and everybody's results will be announced. So keeping this ayah in mind, what should be the action for us? What do you guys think? Should we change something? Should we do something? What should we do based on this ayah and this example that we just went through? What should be our action? Anything that comes to your mind? Yes, Nuruddin, go ahead.
We shouldn't be following the wrong way, the devil way, the thing, and we should be focusing on what's happening in the life as it is written by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we should read Quran, like do azkar, so we know what it is.
Brilliant answer, Nuruddin. Jazakallahu khairan. Yes, Shayan, you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
So basically, like an exam, you shouldn't take the time you're given for granted. In life, you don't know how much time you have. So every second, every minute you have, you should use it properly. And you should use the Holy Quran and the Sunnahs and everything as your resource book, like you'd use a book for the exam, to help it guide you properly, so you don't regret missing out on anything in the end.
Brilliant answers. Jazakumullahu khairan, guys. Shayan as well as Nuruddin. I think you guys already said everything that I wanted to say. So we need to act now. Time is running out. We have time in this test of life right now. So this is the time to action. Once the knowledge gets to you about halal, haram, what to do, what not to do, you have to start actioning now before it is too late and the time of our death comes and we are standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment, so that we don't make this regret. In the exams, fine. In the exams in school and everything else, you can improve, you can learn, you can get into another grade, whatever. However, it is super critical, super critical that in this life, which is our test or the exam of life, we don't fail and we really apply the guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and are really cautious how we are letting this time go. So the time to act is now, because there is no time of death and anyone can face death anytime. So Jazakumullahu khairan for the answers. Moving forward. ذَرْهُمْ يَأْكُلُوا وَيَتَمَتَّعُوا وَيُلْهِهِمُ الْأَمَلُ فَسَوْفَ يَعْلَمُونَ. Leave them to eat and enjoy, and diverted them the hope, then soon they will come to know. So now, if I take the same example of the class, and let's say I want to paint a different picture. Now, the question is, when the teacher tries their best, let's say the teacher is trying to control the class. However, the students are distracted and they don't want to listen and they're talking to each other and they're being rowdy and everything else. When at the end, the students are not at all listening, what does the teacher say in the class? What does the teacher say? What do you guys think? Has it happened to you? What would the teacher say out of frustration?
So they just said, just get out from the class.
Exactly. So they will say, thank you so much, Jazakallah Hasnan. You're right. They will be frustrated and they say, just get out of the class. Or they will say, fine, do whatever you want. You guys will fail. You're not listening to me. Right? So in this ayah, if you look at the same situation in this class of life that we are in, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was facing this opposition from the disbelievers and they were really after his life and his followers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, leave them to eat and enjoy, and diverted them the hope, and then soon they will come to know. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just saying, leave them. They will just find out. So, don't care about them even, because they are not listening to us. So after you have tried everything, you have given them the guidance, you have tried your best, you are convincing them, but they're not listening, fine, they will fail the test of life. They will fail the exam of life. Just like, those students who are not listening to the teacher who's trying to provide them guidance during the class. So it's the same. You can relate to these situations. So for us as well, if people don't listen to guidance and they're distracted and, these attractions and luxuries of life, then they will soon know that they really harm themselves. And the action for us that comes, the natural action that comes is that we should not get distracted with the attractions of this world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly mentions, leave them to eat and enjoy. Because when you are doing well in this world and you think that it's because of me, I'm doing already so well, I'm doing great, maybe even the afterlife, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will like me and whatever I do, I will still be doing really well. So you don't even consider and you don't have any worry in life. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, let them eat and enjoy. So for us, it is very, very important that we don't get distracted with the attractions that this world has given us in terms of wealth and house and cars and this and everything. And we have so many things to do in this life, right? So we have very little time. Everybody's pressed of time. You ask everyone, yeah, I couldn't contact because, I didn't have time. I'm so busy. I'm so busy. Nobody says that I have a lot of time and I'm free and, I had these 4 hours yesterday that I don't know what to do. It doesn't happen, right? So everybody's so busy. So these are distractions that are making you busy, attractions of this world. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, fine, let them eat and enjoy. And, there are different things that are keeping them diverted. And then soon they will come to know the reality when the time will hit them. So this is a very important action for us coming out of these initial ayahs of the surah. Moving forward. وَمَا أَهْلَكْنَا مِنْ قَرِيَةٍ إِلَّا وَلَهَا كِتَابٌ مَعْلُومٌ. And we destroyed not any town, but there was a decree known. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroys a nation or a town because of their own evil deeds or whatever they do. And however, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows this from before. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has knowledge of everything. He knows who will be guided, who will not be guided. And the action only belongs, and we have learned in our previous lessons that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't destroy a nation unless they invoke it upon themselves, unless they don't come back to guidance. And similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't improve a situation of a nation unless they take the first step. So the action and initial steps and the prayer we have to ask to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guidance as individuals as well as nations. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that none of the towns are already destroyed unless there was a decree, known decree for them, meaning that they have reached to that extent that they had to be destroyed. Ma tasbiqu min ummatin ajalaha wa ma yastakhirun. And any nation cannot advance its terms or it cannot delay. Once the time comes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decides a time. So he gives some time. He gives a term for people to ask for forgiveness and to come back to the straight path. But when they don't listen to the signs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent, and when they don't, they're not thinking about the signs, then once their time comes, then there is no delay. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroys them. Because it was happening that a lot of the people were asking, when will the punishment come? And you keep on, telling us that there is a punishment or a day of judgment. Bring it now, and we want to see it, because they did not believe. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying there is a determined time for everything, and once it comes, then no one can delay. وَقَالُوا يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِي نُزِّلَ عَلَيْهِ الذِّكْرُ إِنَّكَ لَمَجْنُونَ. And they say, "O you to whom has been sent down on him a reminder." So the book has been revealed to the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that na'uzubillah, that you are mad. So this is what they used to tell him. No, these are not revelations. He has lost his mind. So which is why he's saying such things. These are not revelations. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is capturing it in the Quran. This is what you are responding to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's revelations. لَوْ مَا تَأْتِينَا بِالْمَلَائِكَةِ إِن كُنْتَ مِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. And they also asked the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, why don't you bring the angels to us if you are the truthful? We want to see live angels descending from the sky with big wings and all of these things they used to say, so that we can believe that you are a prophet. Otherwise, you just appear like a human being to us. So this is what they were asking. What is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's response to them? Ma nunazzilul malaikata illa bil haqqi wa ma kanu idham munzarin. We do not send down the angels except with the truth, and then there would be no given respite. So whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down an angel, time was up, because you are supposed to believe in the unseen. When an angel comes and a nation has not seeking forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala based on the messenger who was convincing them to do, then we have seen in the past, all the previous nations, they were destroyed, they were punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, if they are really asking for angels, let them know, if they come indeed and they reveal themselves, then your time will be up. You will face a severe punishment. So better not ask for it. Inna nahnu nazzalna dhikra wa inna lahu lahafizun. Indeed, we have sent down the reminder, this book, the Holy Quran, as a reminder with a lot of signs. And indeed, we are surely the guardians of it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself is guarding the Quran. And there is an explanation in Ahsanul Kalam Tafsir that I wanted to share with you guys as well. So in this verse is a challenge to mankind, and everyone is obliged to believe in the miracles of the Quran. It is a clear fact that more than 1400 years have passed or elapsed, and not a single word or letter of this Quran has been changed. Although the disbelievers tried their utmost to change it in every way, but they failed miserably in their efforts. This means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself is protecting, as stated in the Quran. As it is mentioned in the holy verse, we will guard it. By Allah, He has guarded it. On the contrary, all the other holy books, the Torah, the Injil, have been corrupted in the form of additions, subtractions, or alterations in the original text. You hear terms like First Testament and the Second Testament and the final and this and this. There are no versions of Quran. Why? Because as you see in the previous ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, indeed we have sent down the reminder, and indeed we are surely guardians of it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the expression of we is like when a king speaks, a supreme king is speaking to his people, like we, this is showing you the supreme authority of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that I am the one who is surely guarding the Quran, which is why you see there's not even a single letter or word alteration since 1400 years in the ayahs of the Holy Quran. So this is a lasting testimony of the truthfulness of Quran. وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا مِنْ قَبْلِكَ فِي شِيَعِ الْأَوَّلِينَ. And certainly we had sent before you in the sects of the formal people. So the previous people as well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent multiple messengers, multiple guidances to them as well. وَمَا يَأْتِيهِمْ مِنَ الرَّسُولٍ إِلَّا كَانُوا بِهِ يَسْتَهْزِئُونَ, and did not come to them any messenger, but at them they did mock. So they made fun of them. So we sent a lot of messengers, and similarly they were made fun of. In the previous ayahs, we also heard that they, na'uzubillah, they were saying that the Holy Prophet is out of his mind and these are not revelations and all of this, he's majnoon and all of those things that they were saying. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying this is the normal course of action. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reassuring the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his followers and companions that this is normally what happens. Just like in the past as well, the messengers were mocked by the disbelievers and their chiefs. Why? Because they do not want to believe and change their ways. كَذَلِكَ نَسْلُكُهُ فِي قُلُوبِ الْمُجْرِمِينَ. Thus we let it enter in the hearts of the criminals. So here, because they are mocking the messenger, because they are making fun of the messenger, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying we let these things enter, like the concept of polytheism and these pagans and all of the mischiefs and misbeliefs that are there in their hearts. They entered because of this behavior, because they were not willing to listen to the messenger. They were making fun of them. They were saying awful things to them, which is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that the hearts, these things, the bad, let's say, versions of belief, like, polytheism or finding different gods and not believing and doing shirk and all of these things enter in the hearts of these criminals because of that behavior that they show, and they don't respect the prophet messengers and they don't listen to their guidance. لا يؤمنون به وقد خلت سنة الأولين. They do not believe in it, and verily the ways of the former people have passed. So former people, there are nations that have passed who were doing similar things. So even right now, they are not believing. The mushriks of Makkah, the disbelievers of Makkah, they are not believing the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there have been multiple nations and people who have passed, and they have done the same thing that they are doing. وَلَوْ فَتَحْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ بَابًا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ فَظَلُّوا فِيهِ يَعْرُجُونَ. And even if we open to them a gate from the heaven, so even if a gate opens from the sky and they were to continue therein to ascend, and if they were walking directly into it, what will they say? لَقَالُوا إِنَّمَا سُكِّرَتْ أَبْصَارُنَا بَلْ نَحْنُ قَوْمٌ مَسْحُورُونَ. They would surely say, only our eyes have been dazzled. Nay, we are people who have been bewitched. From sahar. Sahar means that, something that bewitches you, and it is like an evil act that doesn't make you see reality. So they will think that, as if magic has happened, and evil magic has happened on us. So even if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was those people who are disbelievers, even if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens the door of the heaven and they start to walk towards it on these stairs, they would still say, oh, this is some magic, this is some evil act, and we are under this evil spell that has been casted upon us, which is why we are not able to see reality because of their evil intention in their hearts. Those people who want to believe, and if their hearts are pure and they really put their mind to it and heart to it, they will find guidance, and if they're coming in with the right mindset. However, those people, and this is the test in this world, this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set up this test, and those people who will not believe and whose hearts are not pure, regardless of what you show them, and this is one example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, even if the hearts open and the heavens, the doors of the heaven open, and they are ascending towards the sky, still they will not believe. They will think that a spell has been casted upon them. وَلَقَدْ جَعَلْنَا فِي السَّمَاءِ بُرُوجًا وَزَيَّنَّاهَا لِلنَّاظِرِينَ. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing his sign, and verily we have placed in the heavens constellations, the beautiful arrangement of the stars, and we have beautified it for the observers. So indeed, if you just look at the sky and if you just look at the arrangement of the stars, this is something that is mesmerizing for the observers. This is a sign in it from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't need a door of heaven to open and for you to ascend. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying those people who have good intentions in their heart, they will continue to follow and they will continue to believe even by looking at these signs. So the matter of belief has nothing to do with what miracles you show them. It has to be a pure intention from their hearts. وَحَفِظْنَاهَا مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ. And we have protected it from every accursed devil. So this is sky that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set the devils cannot reach them. The shaitan, the companions of shaitan cannot reach them. And those who try to do that, what happens to them? إِلَّا مَنِ اسْتَرَقَ السَّمْعَ فَأَتْبَعَهُ شِهَابٌ مُبِينٌ. Except the one who steals the hearing. So if a shaitan, if he reaches the sky and he hears something and tries to enter into the matters of Allah SWT and the angels, then follows him a burning, clear burning flame. You know those shooting stars? So it is said that these shooting stars are actually aimed at the shayateen who try to get into those matters and try to hear it. So these are a way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to strike them. We see that in Surah Mulk as well as we progress, inshallah. وَالْأَرْضَ مَدَدْنَاهَا وَأَلْقَيْنَا فِيهَا رَوَاسِيَ وَأَنْبَتْنَا فِيهَا مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ مَوْزُونٍ. And the earth we have spread it, and we cast therein firm mountains, and we cause to grow therein of everything in a well-balanced way. So if you look at this earth, the systems around us, the water system, the way the plants grow, the way the temperature, everything is well balanced. The composition of air, the percentage of oxygen, hydrogen, carbon dioxide, and all the other gases, all of this, the way it has been balanced, the percentages, the way it has been determined, the temperature of the earth, the distance of the earth from the moon and the sun, and the gravitational forces, all of the systems, if you look at it, all of this is perfectly balanced. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is drawing their attention to. Instead of asking for angels to descend from the earth, just look around you. There are so many signs around you to believe and to ponder. And by the way, this is the test. When you look at all of these signs from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you will believe or not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because there cannot be any other perfect creator than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who can create this universe and this world in such a great balance. وَجَعَلْنَا لَكُمْ فِيهَا مَعَيِشَ وَمَا لَسْتُمْ لَهُ بِرَازِقِينَ. And we have made for you therein means of living, and whom you're not for him provider. So basically Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that the risk that we get, human beings, as we try to in the early days, human beings used to hunt and do and all of that, and so even today, all the risks and provisions that are provided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to us, as well as for all other beings that we are not even responsible for, all the animals, the forests, the plants, the life in the sea, all the creatures that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created in the land and the sea that we are not even aware of. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the provider of risk. And this is getting into a very well-balanced system. There's a full cycle inside the forest. It's a completely different world. And we know how each of the things feeds off each other and how the cycle of life moves around without any human intervention. By the way, wherever humans have intervened, we have only spoiled the nature and the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created all this balance. So whenever we just go in, be it pollution, be it climatic change, be it anything, human beings only spoil that balance. That's what we do. That's our contribution. However, if you look at it in its purity and its entirety, then you look at the system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, they are perfect to provide risk for us and provide means of living for us, as well as for all other beings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the provider of means of living for all his creation. وَإِن مِّن شَيْءٍ إِلَّا عِندَنَا خَزَائِنُهُ. And not there is anything but with us are its treasures. So all the treasures of this world and this universe belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even the wealth that we get are a blessing from him, and he's testing us. What will we do with that wealth? So if he doesn't give anything, if he tightens the provisions, will we have patience? Will we do sabr? Or if he gives us extra, and if he gives us good extra wealth and money, what do we do? Do we keep it selfishly for ourselves, or do we spend it on others and help others? وَمَا نُنَزِّلُهُ إِلَّا بِقَدْرٍ مَعْلُومٍ. And we send it down and not except in a measure that is known. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the treasures. He's owning the treasures of everything. And then he sends it down in a well-known measure. He knows how much to give to whom. Imagine when the rain falls, it is done in a proper, it falls as a measure, and then agriculture happens. Whenever there is a lot of rainfall, then destruction happens. However, if you look at the overall way, the systems and the scenarios that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, are really there to support life and to with everything very well balanced to support life. وأرسلنا الرياح لواقح فأنزلنا من السماء ماء فأسقيناكموه وما أنتم له بخازنين. And we have sent the winds fertilizing, and we sent down from the sky water, and we gave it to you to drink, and you are not the ones who are retainers of it. So you don't have any control on anything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pours down rain, agriculture happens. If he doesn't, then it's a barren land, and then people keep on praying, and then we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just mentioning these facts. While human beings think they are in control of everything, sometimes they get arrogant. Yes, we can control this, we can control that. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us that you have control over nothing. Just look at the live example of this pandemic that spread up, the COVID-19 and everything, how limiting the entire medical and healthcare system of this world was, despite all the advancement. So anyway, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who's owning and retaining everything that is falling down in terms of water or rain from the sky, and all the balance system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. We have no control over it. وَإِنَّا لَنَحْنُ نُحْيِي وَنُمِيتُ وَنَحْنُ الْوَارِثُونَ. And indeed, we give life and we cause death, and we are the inheritance. Eventually, everything Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is being possessed by him. People come in this world for a certain period of time. Yes, I can live in this house, I can have the car, but eventually I will die, and after, I don't know, my death, my children will have it, or someone else will have it, or it will get sold to someone or someone. Owners in this world, so-called owners in this world, keep on changing for different things because they keep on dying, and when we die, we go empty-handed. No one can say that I died and I still retained the papers of my house and I kept them in my grave so that I'm still the owner of this house. No, it doesn't happen. Immediately when you die, everything gets transferred to your family or anyone. So after so many years, people don't even remember who the owner was. Okay, when you buy a house, maybe you ask who the owner is right now. Maybe you know the owner previously, maybe. But then beyond that, you don't really care and you don't get to know. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying the original warith, or the inheritor of everything, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the one who has created this world. He is the one who gives. The only thing is, when we get these things during our lifetime, it is our test to see how we utilize them. وَلَقَدْ أَلِمْنَا الْمُسْتَقْدِمِينَ مِنْكُمْ وَلَقَدْ أَلِمْنَا الْمُسْتَأْخِرِينَ. And verily we know the preceding ones among you, and verily we know the later ones. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows, who are the people who were before, and who are the people who will come and take over. So why are human beings so arrogant? And obviously this addresses also to the mushriks of Makkah. Right now you feel powerful, you feel you're the chiefs of Makkah, and you're making other people to disbelieve as well, and you're running the trade of that you want to protect because of the multiple gods that are there in Makkah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that he knows the ones before, and he is stating the stories of those people just so that we also get guided and we take heed from their stories. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows who will also come in later. He has absolute knowledge over everything. However, for us, we need to realize that we are here in short amount of time, and we need to pass this exam. Relating to the previous ayahs when we were going through it, the initial ayahs of this surah. So we need to pass this exam. We need to make sure that we are doing the best thing, and that is coming via the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa inna rabbaka huwa yahshuruhum. And indeed your Lord, he will gather them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will gather us all on the day of judgment. Innahu hakimun alim. Indeed, he's all wise and all knowing. So all of the people Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in this previous ayah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the preceding ones, the ones amongst you, and verily those who will come later. All of the people who have come in this world will be gathered on the day of judgment, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all wise and all knowing. Everything that each one of the person has done or not done in this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has absolute knowledge. وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ صَلْصَالٍ مِنْ حَمَإٍ مَسْنُونٍ. And verily we created humankind out of a sounding clay from black mud altered. Now this is the story of Adam alayhi salam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created mankind or human beings from this clay, which was like a black mud, and it was molded in a way that human beings were created. وَالْجَانَّ خَلَقْنَاهُ مِنْ قَبْلُ مِنْ نَارِ السَّمُومِ. And the jinn we created before from a scorching fire. So there was Allah SWT is saying, so human beings were created from clay, while jinns were created from fire. And if you remember, Shaitan or Iblis, he was amongst the jinn. وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي خَالِقٌ بَشَرًا مِّن صَلْصَالٍ مِّنْ حَمَائٍ مَسْنُونٍ. And when your Lord said to the angels, indeed, I will create a human being out of clay from black altered mud, or the mud that I will mold into human beings. فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ. So when I have fashioned him, when Allah SWT shaped the human being into its form, Adam alayhi salam, and I breathed into him my spirit. This is a very important point. I need all of your attention. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us ruh from himself. So it was part of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he gave, like my spirit. Ruhi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. So this ruh was given to Adam alayhi salam, then fall down to him prostrating. Then he asked the angels to fall down in respect or salute in respect. This is a very important point. The reason for human beings or Adam alayhi salam, why the angels and Iblis, who was also present at that point in time, who was amongst the jinn, were asked to say salute or prostrate, was just because Adam alayhi salam and humankind, we have the ruh from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Ruhi, my spirit. So, just to check if you guys were listening to what I just said in the past 20 seconds. What is the reason of prostration salute to Adam alayhi salam? Who will tell me? Noor, you have raised your hand. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I think the reason is to, I don't know how to play this in English, so I will do in Urdu with the permission, that we have, हम अल्लाह ताला को मानते हैं और उनकी क्रिएशन को मानते हैं कि अगर हम अल्लाह ताला को सजदा कर रहे हैं तो उनके मुताबिक बनी आदम और उनकी जो मखलूक थी उन्हें हम मानते हैं. ये I think reason.
So basically you're saying that because we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so which is why he was asked. However, I just stated the reason in the previous ayah. Who will recall the same reason? Jazakallah Nuruddin for your answer. Anyone else? I just mentioned it in the past 20 seconds. Can you guys call it out? Yes, Faiz, go ahead.
Allah breathed his own spirit into Adam sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Jazakallah khairan. Sayyid Faiz, you're right. So the reason is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala breathed in him his spirit. This is what makes mankind ashraful makhluqat. So, sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to correct this. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala breathed in him his spirit, Adam alayhi salam. This is what makes mankind ashraful makhluqat, the superior creation. And this is what is exactly mentioned in this ayah that we just went through. So when I fashioned him, meaning when I molded him and I breathed into him of my spirit, then fall down to him prostrating, then it was an instruction that was given. This is very, very important point for us to know why we are ashraful makhluqat. Yes, there are other things. And there are other reasons, because we are going through this test. No other creation is going through this test, and we have control over. We can choose the right path and the wrong path, and we can either go to Jannah or Jahannam based on the test of life that is going through. But the key reason that we are ashraful makhluqat is that we have something that came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which was Ruhi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, my spirit. So this is the point. Excellent. Let's move forward. Fasajadal malaikatu kulluhum ajmaun. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked, then all of the angels, all of them together said salute or prostrated in front of Adam alayhi salam on the instruction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another point to clarify, it's not to create shirk, it's not the same prostration as in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's just a matter of respect that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted the angels and Iblis to show to Adam alayhi salam and the human being that was created, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instilled or breathed his own ruh spirit into Adam alayhi salam, and that was the superiority as we just discussed. So it wasn't a matter of why should we do sajda, or so it's not like that. Illa Iblis. So all of the angels did it, except there was one jinn who was Iblis, and obviously he had secured a very high rank with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, except Iblis. Aba an yakuna mas sajidin. He refused to be with those who prostrated. He refused to be with those who saluted Adam alayhi salam. And now let's listen to the reason that he gave. Qala ya iblisu ma laka alla takuna mas sajidin. No, sorry, this is not his response. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asking Iblis. He said, "O Iblis, what is for you that you are not with those who prostrated? Why didn't you do this? So I just instructed you. How come you didn't listen to my instruction?" Now his response. قال لم أكن لأسجد لبشر خلقته من صلصال من حماء مسنون. He said, I am not the one to prostrate to a human being to whom you created out of clay from black altered mud. So because I am created from fire and he's created from mud, why should I prostrate to him? And this is the arrogance of Iblis that turned him into shaitan, and you will see the upcoming ayahs. Qala fakhruj minha fa innaka rajim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, then get out of indeed for which you are expelled. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. We seek protection and refuge to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from shaitan who was expelled. So this regime word is coming from when we recite A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. This is the same word that is coming. He was expelled. He was the one who was cursed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa inna alaykal la'nata ila yawmiddin. And indeed upon you will be the curse till the day of judgment. Till the day of judgment, now you are cursed. Qala Rabbi fa'anzirni ila yawmi yubasun. What did he said? Oh my Lord, then give me respite, give me time till the day that they are raised back again, your human beings. What will he do? Qala fa'innaka minal munzarin. He said, then indeed the ones you are, then indeed you are of the ones given respite. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him that time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, fine, you want to take time, take your time. Until when? Ila yawmil waqtil ma'loom, till the day of the time that is well known, meaning the day of judgment, you have this time. Qala rabbi bima aghwaytani la uzayyinanna lahum fil ardi wa la ughwiyannahum ajma'in. He said, my Lord, because you misled me, surely I will make evil, the bad things, fair seeming. I'll make them look good to them in the earth, and I will mislead them all. So what did Iblis say? Iblis said, in this time that you have given me until the day of judgment, what I will do is I will mislead people by making evil things look good in front of them. Whenever they will be doing something bad, they will think I am doing something amazing. He will make bad things attractive for people to follow him versus follow the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even the chiefs of Makkah, they were trying to protect the trade. They were trying to protect the system that they had. They were trying to protect their own interests, which is why they had justified the opposition of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because shaitan had made this thing fair seeming to them. This thing was looking like we are taking care of our people and we are so good and everything else, while they were oppressing all the people. This is the way of shaitan. Now, so shaitan said, and this is just a point to note, he will make evil deeds fair seeming to mankind to lead them towards the wrong path. I have a question to you guys, just a point to think of. If you look around us in this world, how do you think shaitan is doing in his objective that he said I'll set out? So he said I'll mislead mankind by making evil deeds look good to them. How is he doing? Yes, Nuruddin.
Yes, sir, he wanted to lie. He wanted to give other people, like, break their hearts, like tell them lies and everything, break promises, and not to pray as well. And he do all that stuff to make us away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yes, he does that. But how do you think? Is he doing? Is he delivering on what he set out? So, what do you guys think? Anyone else? What do you guys think? How is shaitan doing in misleading people? When you look at people around us in the world and whatever is happening around us. Anyone else?
He is believing that other people are God, Alhamdulillah.
Yes.
He wants us to prostrate in front of a statue or something, like fake religious. So
Yes.
that's the reason I think.
Yes, so he has a lot of tactics and he wants us to be on stage. But if you ask me overall, I think he's doing hell of a job. He's doing a really good job. Look at all the people around, the frustrations, the corruption, the bad practices, the zulm, the corruption. If you just look all around, there's so many bad things happening. People are backbiting, people are consuming alcohol, even the so-called Muslims are doing all the ill practices, and all the vices in the society are there. So I think Shaitan is doing hell of a job. And the reason why I marked hell is, you guys know, I mean, if we continue follow this direction, this is what he's trying to lead us to, right? So I think he is indeed doing hell of a job that he said that he would do and he would set out to do, right? So I think this expression in English really fits well what he's doing, and we see it all around us. And by the way, Allah SWT captures it in the Holy Quran. Majority of the people are not on the right path except a few. So now let's talk about except a few. So even in this ayah, the previous one, he said, my Lord, because you misled me, I will make evil fair seeming surely to them in the earth, and I will mislead them all. And then the next ayah, except illa ibadaka minhumul mukhlasin, except your slaves among them, the ones who are sincere. And by the way, these are few. We have seen it in multiple chapters of the Holy Quran that we, Alhamdulillah, already went through. We have seen that, you know, we should pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us amongst the few. So the action here is very clear. We have to continue praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be amongst his sincere slaves, meaning follow his guidance that has been revealed in the Holy Quran and as has been explained to us by the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his Hadith and his Sunnah. This is a clear action for us that is coming from this conversation that Iblis had. Qala haza siratun alayya mustaqim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, he said, this is the way to me that is straight. So these people who are not listening to you, who are the sincere slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is the way that is coming straight to, taking us straight to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the path of success. Inna ibadi laysa laka alayhim sultanun illa manittaba'aka minal ghawin. Indeed, my slaves, you do not have over them any authority except those who follow you and the ones who go astray. This is a very important point. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is capturing this in the Quran, that Shaitan, although he took the challenge and he's doing hell of a job around us, but he has no authority. He can only whisper. He can give an idea. He cannot hold our hand and let us perform an action. This is very important. We are accountable for our own actions. We cannot go on the day of judgment in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, I did this because Shaitan whispered this to me. He's the one who misguided me. So I have, I did not have any control. No, we have control. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, indeed, my slaves, you have not over them any authority. So guys, this is a point that you should note. Shaitan does not have any control over you. He can misguide you, he can whisper an idea and all of this, but it is us who do actions. It is us who are accountable for our halal actions and haram actions, something that we are not supposed to do. Shaitan cannot control and pull us towards it. So I think this power, this control Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, which is why this is the test of life, in which we have to follow guidance and in which we have to control ourselves. First of all, gain knowledge of what is right and wrong. Pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his guidance. Pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be on the right path. And say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, so that you seek refuge from Shaitan, who has been cursed and expelled by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I hope this point is clear. Wa inna jahannama la maw'iduhum ajma'in. And indeed, the promise placed for them, for all of them, is hell. For whom? The last one. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, indeed, my slaves, you do not have any authority over them except those who follow you or the ones who go astray. And then indeed, hell is surely a promise place for all of them. Those people who will follow Shaitan, those people who will not follow the guidance, the only way for them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that he will lead to is hell. And by the way, it's there is a lot of elaboration within hell as well. There are different levels. The next ayah. Laha sab'atu abwab. For it there are 7 gates. There are 7 gates of hell. Likulli babim minhum juz'um maqsoom. And for each gate among them is an assigned portion. Look at the level. So which is why, you know, sometimes people say that why is there so much injustice in this world? How come, you know, there are so many cruel people? How come somebody just killed 100 people or something like this? How why Allah SWT is not holding them accountable? This life is a test. What we need to understand is Allah SWT is giving time to everyone in this world. There is a stipulated time. We learned it in the previous ayahs in today's lesson that there is a time that is given to individuals and nations for them as a test. Now they can continue to, they're going through the exam. The teacher never comes in the exam and says in between the exam, no, your time is up and everything. No, there's a time that they give you and they let you finish the exam. So you can write an answer, you can go back and correct your answer, and you can complete your exam and everything, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says that there is a time. Now someone can utilize this time to be cruel, to oppress others, to kill others, to do haram things and everything else. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just giving them time so that they may come back. And if they don't intend to come back, then they can go in the deepest and they can go in their deep way and they can continue to go astray. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a logic for giving all of them the time. However, then there are people who utilize this time to get on the right path and, you know, to correct their ways as well. So with all the zulm and the cruelty and everything that is happening in this world and all the bad stuff that is happening, there are 7, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, gates and levels of hellfire and everything. There's an assigned portion and there's assigned designated places for all the people who will enter hell. I think we should continue to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from hellfire. Allahumma janni minan nar. Moving forward, I think this is the close of today's lesson. Alhamdulillah, we managed to cover almost 44 ayahs today in the time. Very quickly going through actions from today's class. Number 1 is we need to act now while we have time left in this test of life from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We went through an ayah and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly states that those people who disbelieved on the day of judgment, they would wish that they are Muslims. So we went through an example where we discussed, just like in an exam, after an exam, sometimes the students feel, oh, if I would have, you know, just studied that part a bit more, I could have done better. Or, you know, you get these thoughts after the exam. It's the same thing. It's the same logic. Here, this life is our exam. This is a test that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. If we'll do right or if we'll do wrong. So what will happen on the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly explained that those people who disbelieved or who are not believing today, who are opposing the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who even today are born in Muslim families but are not real Muslims and who get all the messages of the Quran and the Sunnah and the Hadith of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but they do not act upon it, will regret on the day of judgment. They would wish that they were Muslims and they were practicing Muslims and they had not done bad things or haram things, but it would be too late. So the action for us is to act now while we have time left in this test of life from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before it is too late and our death comes and we are standing in front of him on the day of judgment. Action number 2, don't get distracted with the attractions of this world and whispers of shaitan. We have to seek guidance and be on the right path. A lot of the time we get this, I am so busy, I have so much to do and all of this, and you know, yes, I will do this and I'll start praying and I'll start studying Quran and all of these things later on, whatever. The thing is, this life, and here there are lots of attractions that take a lot of our times. So, and there are these whispers of shaitan that keep on coming us to distract us. So for us, we have to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guidance and be on the right path by practicing. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and between the conversation between Iblis and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that was narrated down, it was clear that Iblis will only mislead those people who are not following, who will go astray. So what he will do is he will make evil deeds look good to them. This is okay, it's fine. I mean, I'm just watching a short video or a small picture, it's okay. I mean, you know, or I'm just looking at girls, I'm staring at them while I've been asked to lower my gaze, but you know, it's okay, you know, it's not zina, it's not a gunai kabira and all of these things. So he starts like this. Shaitan starts like this. Okay, I mean, I'm going to a party where they're serving alcohol, I'm not drinking. Then when you go there and, I'm just, just checking how it looks like in the glass. And then maybe I'm just sipping. I'm not getting intoxicated. I did not drink the whole glass and, just take a sip and try. And then fine, I didn't get intoxicated by the first sip. I can take a couple of more sips, and then you ended up the glass and, you're already. So this is the way of shaitan. He whispers. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that he doesn't control us. He doesn't have control over people. He can only whisper. Especially the slaves, the sincere slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you're a slave of someone, when you're a sincere slave, what do? You listen to them. And here the slavery doesn't the meaning the meaning of the word that we went through in one of the initial lessons is that the slavery of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not binding. So it's not like by force and you're not feeling like, normally when you think about slaves and slavery, it's like, they are being crushed and punished and they are, they just want to get out of their hardship. However, when you talk about being abd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is a beautiful form of slavery that they do with love. And they really want to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they don't want to offend him, and they want him to be happy with them. So they are so much, they are following all his guidance. They're always conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is what we need to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even for protection. There's so many fitnas around us. There are so many things around us that we get spread with, that we get bombarded with. Even if you're just checking a simple email, if you're just checking simple communication apps or social apps, things pop up from left, right, and center, and shaitan is trying to hook you in on that dirty stuff or stuff that you're not supposed, or shameful things that come in front of you that you're not supposed to really look at. But that's how his way of attracting and hooking and pulling us in. So we should pray, and it is very important that we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his protection. We only get guidance when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses us with guidance. So pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be amongst his sincere slaves, and follow the guidance in Quran and the Sunnah and Hadith of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This marks the end of today's lesson. Are there any questions, any comments before we close today's class? Okay, nothing. So subhanallahi wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Purity belongs to Allah and all praise be to him. Purity belongs to you, O Allah, and all praise be to you. I bear witness that there is none worthy of worship besides you. I beg forgiveness from you and I repent before you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers. Inshallah, I will see you guys next week, same time.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah sallallahu.
Wa iyaka.